Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we got to talk about primaries today, and we haven't talked about primaries in a very long time because really there's no reason to. We got primaries, state primaries to talk about coming up in June for New Jersey and Virginia. That's all we have, but we are just going to put our toes into the water for a little bit and talk about the 2028 primaries because there was a bombshell poll that was dropped by Echelon Insights, which showed J.D. Vance seizing almost 40% of the popular vote against a group of Republicans. Now, it's important to realize, I don't know why Donald Trump's on here. I think it's, okay, I understand now. This is Donald Trump Jr. Okay, this has to be Donald Trump Jr. Otherwise, because there was, never mind. No, Donald Trump Jr. is right here. What the heck? Why is Donald Trump here? Okay, Donald Trump cannot run, period. I am not sure why he's on this. And you'll see in the Emerson poll, taken from November. I get it now. I'm guessing these... No, that still doesn't make sense because Trump already won the election on November 20th. So for some dumb reason, he's at 23%. People are going to click on his name thinking, oh, you could run a third time? You could be president for a third term? So they're going to click it and, of course, do it when it comes to that. I still think that's ridiculous, but excluding this, J.D. Vance is winning this whole primary. I don't expect Donald Trump to be on here for long, but you'll see Donald Trump Jr. is giving a decent challenge. You'll see Donald Trump Jr. never necessarily won a poll. Part of the reason is he's a celebrity, not really a politician. He's the president's son. That's probably that could be the reason why he could get over the top. I think he has a chance, but right now, J.D. Vance is viewed as a successor by the Republican Party, ultimately. And as a result, I think being the vice president and having that momentum, I think it's very possible that he's probably going to carry this all the way through. So, what do I mean by that? So, let's go ahead and take a look at... I'm just going to go ahead and look at... I'm blanking out again, but we have some news to talk about, ultimately. J.D. Vance in Europe, he's already acting like the president, as you can clearly see. J.D. Vance, unlike Mike Pence, has proved himself to be a very big loyalist to the America First movement. This is, of course, coming from a former anti-Trump, former anti-fascist sort of person. And it's kind of ironic. And because, here's the thing, J.D. Vance still has those views on fascism. That hasn't changed. On Hitler... I mean, have we ever met someone that actually applauded Hitler for killing all the Jews? Let's be honest. Maybe there's some radical person on BitChute or something like that. But I don't think I have met anyone in person that has openly applauded and condoned Hitler for what he has done towards the Jews. Ultimately, a lot of idiots in Europe, they're so paranoid over, of course... I don't think they're paranoid. I think they're just envious, and they just love their power, and they are totally destroying the democracy within. So, yes, and I think it's silly. Oh, we have to we have to be strong in regards to our society. You see, what can be accepted, what can't be accepted because of Nazism, because of World War II. No. That doesn't work like that, because the United States, we had the KKK, we had the Confederacy, we had so many hate groups in the United States. Guess what? And we're just fine. Ultimately, Europe adapted. And you know what? Just stripping people of their right of free speech, it's just going to make people go and become what you like to call a Nazi. They're going to go and rebel. They're like, oh, I don't like being forced to have my mouth being silenced. I'm just going to resist. That's what happens all the time. So I really, really doubt that this is actually about Nazism, that this is actually about hate speech, about actually keeping Europe safe and democratic, like the woke European leaders like to clearly see. Ultimately, you got all of Europe bashing JD Vance for rightfully pointing out, hey guys, we are bashing Russia for their undemocratic leadership. What about us? What makes us better than Russia? Guess what? What makes us better than Russia? What makes us better than Russia? I can't think of anything. I mean, in Britain, we threw an autistic girl in jail because she used the wrong pronoun to address a transgender officer. In Sweden, I don't think it was Sweden, but also in Britain, never mind, I'm thinking about another incident, we threw Catholics in jail for protesting in front of a Planned Parenthood. They were arrested because they were accused of swaying and using public interest. And no. Here's the thing. Those Catholic Brits, they're just praying. They could be saying the rosary. They could just be sitting there in silence. And the next thing you know, they're in handcuffs. Guys, we are well aware that Russia throws gay people in jail. Well, I can't say Britain's any different than Russia. We're throwing people in jail if you get anywhere near a Planned Parenthood in London. Where is the liberals in Europe? And most importantly, where are the neocons in the United States? The Democrats, they're so silent. Letting people be thrown in jail for no reason. Because they had a right to their free speech. So JD Vance rightfully coming out in attack against Europe. Europe, not a fan of them. Guys, I'm telling you, they're not our allies. They're our allies in name only. We owe zero loyalty to them. All they do is rip us off, and we force to support them while they and condone their tyranny. But JD Vance is saying, hey, guess what? We're not doing that anymore. JD Vance is saying, hey, look, Europe, we have a problem with what you're doing. If you want us to come over and help you in this war, then you gotta stop. Germany, you got Mr. Chancellor Schultz. He's boo-hoo, whining and crying, thinking that Vance is just wasting his time and that we're supposed to help him regardless. We ain't gonna help you, Germany. We ain't gonna help anyone. We owe zero loyalty to you. We don't have to help you. The United States was founded as an isolationist country. Ideally, the United States only intervened in foreign conflicts in their own interests. The only time the United States left North America to fight the war, in my opinion, in 100 years, was the Barbary War. Well, not even 100 years, but straight at when America won its independence. But after that Barbary War was won, the Barbary Wars, in other words, the United States stayed put. We didn't get involved in Europe. In fact, we passed the Monroe Doctrine, saying, hey, look, Europe, you can't get anywhere near us. you can't actively campaign in countries. Otherwise, the United States would get involved because those countries threat the United States. If you agree with that logic, I don't know. But that is part of the reason why the United States supported Mexico in the second intervention, the second French intervention in Mexico in the 1860s. Well, we were in a civil war, believe it or not. But you get what I'm saying. J.D. Vance, as vice president, not even the head of state, is already standing up to Europe and their scams and their lies and their grift that somehow hate speech, misogyny is going to destroy democracy. Guess what? I have news for you. Hate speech, misogyny, racism is not going anywhere. If you want misogyny, racism to go somewhere, like out the door, then you better shut up. Because you whining and crying about it is going to make people want to be, in your words, misogynistic, bigoted, in your view, because they're doing it for a reaction. A lot of people think it's funny, so they're going to do it. If you go and call white women cockroaches, guess what's going to happen? White woman is going to call you, supposedly a person of color, something that's very inappropriate. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think we should be calling people those names. And I don't support that language at all. But let's be real. If you're going to call someone a cockroach, then expect an ugly word to be thrown back at you. Oh, you can't do that. I'm a woman of color. I can do it to you, though, because you're a white woman. You're supposed to deal with it. No. In Europe, that's the attitude. In America, it's the attitude also, but we're trying to get rid of that. It's a poor, dumb mindset to have. But you get what I'm saying. That's how you stop racism. It's not about talking about it. It's actually about shut up and live your life. Because that's what we did in the 90s. And guess what? Yeah, we had some incidents. But now we're fully aware. I think we're better than that. Now we're more woke, quote, quote. I think we're going to be better than the 90s if we just shut up and live your life. But they can't. MSNBC, the race hustlers of America, that's how they get paid. That's how they get their living. So while their audience thinks they're social justice warriors, no. The audience is just listening and tuning in to corrupt podcasters that are getting money off of your skin color. But yeah, I had to address Europe because J.D. Vance, he was supposed to walk up the stage and talk about Ukraine. He didn't do that. In fact, I applaud. Because why are we helping Ukraine? What are we doing? The Biden administration thinks, oh, Ukraine's our ally, we gotta help them. Well, they're so blindsided not to realize the abuse that Europe has given us. Not only that, but the abuse that we are supporting by supporting Europe. So absolutely. Good job, Vice President Vance. This man's already standing up to Europe. And yeah, relations are going down with Europe. Canada, bad relations. Denmark, bad relations. I don't care, though. These countries, as far as I know, we had bad relations during Biden administration because Canada and Denmark were mistreating us. They were bullying us. And the relations are only bad because we're standing up for ourselves. I don't care. Canada, Denmark, go kick rocks. Go kick rocks. Kick it so hard that your feet break. We ain't care. We ain't budging. So, great job to JD Vance. Because of his stance in Europe, he is all the way up to 39%. You got Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, 4%. Vivek, 5%. I think that's a generally good sign that he's above Marco Rubio, seeing that he's not a politician. He's allegedly going to run for governor. He has expressed lots of interest. He says that announcement's pending. And I think that's a very likely. He did not he did not say, he didn't say it's likely or not likely. But he's basically nodding with the people that are playing with the likely scenario. And I think it's a huge, 80, 90, over 90% chance that he's running for governor. There's always the neocons. Nikki Haley, 8%. That's an obstacle. 10%. Ron DeSantis. Don Jr. I think would be much higher. But ultimately, this is the take right now. 39%. What would that look like via map? Now, I'm going to take a gamble. And I'm going to go to Real Clear Politics, Real Clear Polling for the 2028 Republican primary. Okay. I don't think we have any polls circulating yet. I don't expect us to. So we're going to kind of create our own average. Obviously, in my view, JD wins. Surprised? I'm not. JD Vance wins the primaries. He has won every poll. But let's go ahead and look at Republican primaries. Okay, so red would be in Vance. I generally view Vance to be in the color red, in my opinion. His opponent, Donald Trump Jr., I would say he would get involved in this. Trump, it's kind of weird to see them both in there. Because he's got some sort of stability there. Forget about this. The Donald Trump poll is voided. That's ridiculous. Nikki Haley. Oh, Ron DeSantis also showed some momentum also. Okay, maybe we're going to put DeSantis in red. Like it originally was. We're going to get rid of the unnecessary candidates. Or maybe Vance in yellow. But so perfect. So I would say generally this would look like, well, let's go ahead and say which states Donald Trump would likely, Donald Trump Jr. would likely carry. I think Florida would be his to carry if he were to run. Ohio, Vance country. I think Vance would have a good grip on places all around. DeSantis, you could say, I'm not sure it's going for, I'm not sure it's going in. I think he would grab some amount of delegates, good amount of delegates between Donald Trump Jr., but I think Donald Trump Jr. would win. But let's just go ahead and cover the states, play it by ear. Right now, I'm not really seeing any way that Ron DeSantis, he could win in D.C. Donald Trump Jr. Trying to think of he could win in Alabama, Missouri, Iowa even. I have a hard time believing that he would win in Iowa. He probably won't pick up any state. I'm not so sure about that, actually. It's just, I'm not sure he would. I think Vance would win in Virginia. Well, let's go ahead and just go. Let's just clear. We're going to start from Maine. Maine, J.D. Vance. New Hampshire, I would say, would go to J.D. Vance. Massachusetts. Well, I won't give New Hampshire to Ron. Ron DeSantis as of right now. New York. Pennsylvania. J.D. Maryland. D.C. I would say J.D. Vance. West Virginia. DeSantis. West Virginia. Virginia. North Carolina. Florida would go for Don Jr. Alabama. Tennessee. Kentucky. Ohio for sure will go to J.D. Vance. Kind of the states around it. Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri. That's all. I view Missouri to be more of a toss. I would say it goes to J.D. Iowa, J.D. Vance. Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, we will say it's a toss-up, Arizona, California, I would say it goes to JD also. Oregon, well, you're not so sure anymore. This is hard. I would say Utah for DeSantis. Let's go ahead and give some states to Trump. I would expect Indiana. Maybe Alabama. Mississippi. Louisiana. Go ahead and give. Maybe Puerto Rico for DeSantis. Harder than I thought it was going to be. I didn't know it was going to be like this. We'll go ahead and give South Dakota, North Dakota for Donald Trump Jr., Don Jr. Oklahoma, not so sure. No, I'm not so like. Vance would probably win South Dakota. Okay, now maybe New Hampshire and Utah would be better. But yeah, Wyoming, maybe Idaho, Nevada. I would say maybe North Carolina. Texas would remain a toss-up. Mississippi, not so sure about them. Tennessee. And it looks like this. It's a little weird, but this would be an appropriate map. But well, I would say West Virginia would stay for JD. But anyway, I would say this would be my map as of right now. Early map. Not so confident about it, as you can probably tell. I think there's a lot that needs to be worked on. But what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.